Let's get into first Remnant 2. I have been playing so damn much of this game. This is my number 2 right behind Zelda for Game of the Year. And honestly, it's close. If Zelda wasn't like an all-time masterpiece, this might be my Game of the Year. It's a combination of so many things that I love. And we talked about Remnant from the Ashes just a couple weeks ago because I was diving into it for the first time to prepare for Remnant 2. It's a combination to me of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, Destiny 2, and Monster Hunter, which are like my 3 favorite things. Plus a little Diablo in there as well, as far as the structure goes. So I think if you're familiar with the first game, you probably already know how good the gunplay is. And it's just as good, if not better here. And how creative some of the guns are. Almost every gun feels like an exotic from Destiny. And if they don't, you can add mods to it to make it feel like that. So it's like all crazy guns once you kind of get leveled up. What I didn't expect was how many secrets this game has. This is like, it almost feels, this is going to be a weird comparison, but it almost feels like Fez this first week where the community is just discovering stuff constantly. There's not many fun times to be had on Reddit these days, but the Remnant subreddit has been fun the past week because multiple times a day, people are finding crazy secrets. And then other people are like, wait, that doesn't possibly work. I'm going to go try it. And then 20 minutes later, they post back in, holy shit, it worked. I've never seen this gun before. This is insane. I've never seen this subclass before. This is insane. It's nonstop with... Destiny kind of has done that too. With raids and dungeons, there are always some kind of like, hey, you can beat the raid, and that's fine, but there's like 4 secrets in there you didn't find. In Remnant, that stuff is everywhere. Just yesterday, the game's been out a week now. I guess technically a week and a couple days because there was an ultimate version that launched like 3 days early. And just yesterday, the final subclass was discovered. At least we think the final one. There could be more for all we know. Which just goes to show you, like, in a week, these days in a week, everybody's discovered everything. Like, it's collectively. Mm-hmm. And man, this game is just a never-ending rabbit hole of that. They revealed 5 subclasses before the game launched, so we kind of just figured that was it. 5 subclasses, just like Diablo. There's, at least as of now, there's 10 in the game. 5 to start with, and then the other 5 have to be discovered, and they are not easy to discover. Some of them are easy, but most are not. And they all play so radically differently. The co-op is pretty seamless, the drop in, drop out. I've had a couple bugs. One, there's a dungeon right now we can't progress on, which really drives us crazy because a gun that I badly want is kind of at the end of this. So that's driving me crazy. Hopefully they iron that out straight. The scrap economy, scrap is cash essentially, and that's not very good. They've even talked about how they want to up that. We don't get enough scrap now to kind of upgrade all our weapons and buy other weapons and everything. But man, I'm endlessly impressed, and the fact that this game's only $50 is insane to me with no microtransactions. And I'm not, people know I'm not anti-live service. I'm not anti microtransactions even, but it's just this really straddles the line where it's not a live service game, but boy, it has enough content to feel like one. Mm-hmm. Man, it's a rabbit hole. I absolutely love it. I feel like even now I'm not doing it justice. Oh, that's I knew I was forgetting something big. The procedural generation is crazy. Just as far as how many... all right, so there's 3 big worlds you have to go through in this game, plus 2 smaller ones, but 3 big ones. Those can come to you in any order. My friend that I'm playing with in his campaign, he got my last one, he got first, and vice versa. And then even within those worlds, you could fight totally different dungeons, totally different bosses, totally different layouts, find totally different secrets, find totally different guns. So, you have to run through this game multiple times to see everything, because it is so randomized. It almost feels like Hades in that way, but not a roguelike. How, some runs you'll run into, what's the guy who pushes the boulder? The curse of...
Oh, Sisyphus?
Yes. Some runs you'll run into him, and some runs you won't. It's like Remnant. Some runs you'll see totally different NPCs, totally different dungeons, stuff like that. Totally different end bosses. I've ran my first area. I've ran through twice and it got totally different storylines in both, and totally different dungeons and totally different bosses at the end. It's nuts. And I worry that at $50 they're not making enough money on this game, because what they're offering for so cheap is just fantastic. I do see though that they've hit like twice as many as their peak count of the first game as far as Steam numbers go. So it seems to be doing very, very well, which makes me happy because it deserves it.
Yeah, I was like, coming up with the release of this game, I wasn't necessarily confident that it would set the world on fire, but like everyone I know seemingly is playing it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's doing really well.
It really is. I hope they add crossplay. It's not in there now, and that's a bummer. Yeah, but other than that, man, and they got 3 DLCs coming. But other than that, it's not like, there's no battle pass. It's not a live service game. Just has some DLCs coming. Yeah, very psyched. As soon as we get done recording, I'm gonna go play some more. I played all night last night. And it's kind of a shame that it released the same day as our second game to talk about, Pikmin 4, because guess what? I'm loving that also. Last Friday was a good day for me. Remnant II and Pikmin 4 were 2 of my most anticipated games of the year, and they both absolutely lived up to the hype. I haven't got to play as much Pikmin as I've wanted to because of Remnant, but man, I'm loving what I am playing. It is very much a streamlined, with improved quality of life stuff version of Pikmin's 1, 2, and 3, especially 3. Mm-hmm. The controls feel smoother. We've talked about how I used to struggle with the old controls of Pikmin's, although now I went back and played Pikmin 1, and maybe I was making a bigger deal about it than I needed to. It felt okay. Pikmin 4 feels even better. Pikmin 4 feels fantastic, as a matter of fact. They do a lot of... It's a pretty easy game, to be honest with you. And they do a lot of things to make it easier on you, like the auto lock on to things when you're throwing your Pikmin is super generous, but it's probably better that way, because this game could feel very clunky if it wasn't handled properly. You could argue that it has in the past. You got Ochi. Ochi's very useful now. He's very cute. Very useful. You have the nighttime expeditions, which actually where I left off, I was just about to start my first one, so I haven't done those yet. Mm-hmm. As far as I can tell, this is the first Pikmin that hasn't cut a color from the previous ones. Like, purples and whites were in 2, but not in 3, at least not the campaign. I think you could get them in multiplayer mode. But this one has all of them. Every Pikmin type that's ever existed, plus a couple new ones, like the nighttime Pikmin and the ice Pikmin. But they do limit you. You can only bring 3 different types of colors out at a time. So that's how they don't make it too easy that way. There is a rewind feature, but I always forget about it, so I've never used it. Even when I should have a couple times when I've done something stupid and lost 10 Pikmin at a time or so, but I never remember it. You can upgrade this time, which is new for the series. There's no time limit this time. You do have to, collect enough stuff to fill up a meter. When you fill up the meter, you get to the next area. So that's kind of how the progression works, but you're not under a stressful time limit anymore. It's just a charming, fun, crazy game that I wish didn't come out at the same time as Remnant 2, so that I could get back to it. But I will finish this. Both Remnant and Pikmin are in my top 5 of the year. Remnant's, like I said, that's probably number 2 right now. If you've never, there is a demo, by the way. Oh, one thing I will say, because this happened to me in the demo. The demo progress carries over into the main game. So if you're not sure, just play the demo. However, the first hour or so is some of the worst tutorializing I've ever seen. It's not like it doesn't tell you stuff, but just it is so start and stop so that they can talk to you. Start, and then they want to talk to you for a bit. Start, and then they want to stop you and talk to you forever. But after like an hour, that's all out of the way, and it's not a problem anymore. The cave sequences in this one are much more structured. They're almost like little puzzle boxes. It almost feels like a Portal level all of a sudden in the middle of your Pikmin game. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. Pikmin 4 absolutely rules, and if you've played the series before, definitely pick it up. If you're new, or even if you've tried it before and didn't really like it, I would at least encourage trying the demo because they have made this so much smoother, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. All right, I've talked a lot. Let's go over to you. Final Fantasy 16.
So I played a bit more Final Fantasy 16. I'd say I'm almost to the halfway point. I really like this game, but like I have these small little nitpicks that kind of annoy me a lot. So it is definitely a Final Fantasy game. There are people who are concerned it wasn't, and I'm like, it is definitely a Final Fantasy game. But with that, it is a Final Fantasy game designed by a team who makes a MMO. Right. And with that comes with some little things that are annoying.
We got some news on the MMO a little later.
Yes. The side quests, some of them are good, but like the majority of them are so boring fetch quest things that's like, wow, they really did not learn the right lessons from Final Fantasy XIV, and they just kind of transplanted them into 16. And it's kind of a bummer. I don't really particularly care for that. Yeah. And there's a lot of cutscenes in this game. It's not like I'm not someone who gets annoyed by that, but like there are times where it's like the game is like trying to convince you that Clive and his team are like in danger, and then once I'm in gameplay, I am like doing DMC style combos on everyone, and they're not even hitting me, and it's like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance between what's happening in the cutscenes and what's happening in gameplay. But it's still a great game. Like, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's definitely not going to be on my game of the year list, I think, because it's just there's too many games that I've enjoyed more than this, to be honest with you.
I'm actually a little surprised by that, because when you first started this, you seemed head over heels about it.
I was, and then I got to the part where it started to, like, become a Final Fantasy game. I was like, oh, okay, yep, nope, we're still doing this. Cool.
Good. How close do you say you are to the end, or do you know?
I'm about almost at the halfway point.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Do you think you're going to stay with it, or are you starting to...
Well, Baldur's Gate 3 comes out in 4 days, so hopefully...
Is it 4 days?
Yeah, it's August 3rd.
Damn, that snuck up on me.
So I'm going to try, and if I don't, I'm going to finish it at some point during this year.
You know, I've started to watch more, especially, I think it's mostly your fault. I've started to watch more YouTube videos about Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm starting to get kind of excited for it. Yeah. I'll probably wait till the Xbox version, which will probably be sometime next year, because I want to play it in co-op. But yeah, that game's looking rad. Problem with that game, a game like that, we ran into this with Divinity too. If you want to play it in co-op, you really need to commit. Like, you need to talk to your co-op partner and say, okay, we are playing every Friday at this time, no exceptions, blah, 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 because, like, or otherwise you're just not going to make any progress. We ran into that with Wasteland 3, too. We were playing that in co-op and enjoying it, but with, like, when you just kind of say, oh, we'll play whenever we have time, like, you're never going to make any progress.
No. It is going to be a D&D game for better and worse.
Yes.
So...
but I think we're going to try to do it with Baldur's Gate, and especially if we stream it, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What I had completely forgotten to write in our schedule, and I just remembered, I binged the entire season of Twisted Metal, the show.
Nice.
And I think people saw the trailers and everything, had low expectations. I had... not high expectations, but I had higher than most people. I thought, it's going to be dumb fun. And it is, but I'll say it surpassed my expectations. I really liked this show a lot.
I will say those trailers were awful. They're just not very well put together, from what I understand, and like not really representative of what the show is.
I mean, yes and no. It is a dumb show. Don't get me wrong. It is a supremely dumb show. I've heard a lot of people. I never watched Ash vs. the Evil Dead, but I've heard a lot of people make that comparison. It does kind of feel like that, and it also, I know some of the Deadpool people are involved. You can feel that too.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How much actual driving would you say is in the show?
Not a ton. Not a
Really?
Yeah, not a ton. It does feel this show's low budget. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
And you can tell that. The last episode has a lot, and the first episode has a moderate amount, and then in between there, not a whole. Well, I'll say not a whole lot of car combat. There's a lot of driving, but just like it's them driving along the hallway having dialogue scenes, not so much that action. But it's funny. It's really funny, and Anthony Mackie, man, he is a good dumb himbo goofball. It turns out. Which I kind of didn't expect him to just play like such a good, obviously he's funny in the Marvel movies, but in this he's just dumber, honestly, and he's good at it. I don't know what that says about him, but and the Sweet Tooth is excellent. There's not as much. Sweet Tooth and Anthony Mackie don't share the screen as much as you would expect. Honestly, they really only cross over at the very beginning and very end. And other than that, they're like almost two separate storylines with a common villain, I'll say. The villain is despicable. He's very easy to hate. This show has more to say than I thought about police, honestly. And they're the villain of this show. And,
yeah, much like real life, yes.
Yeah. No, never mind, I won't say it. But I got family that's about to become a cop, which
okay.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that, but whatever. He's a good kid. Anyway. That'll drive me crazy. Sweet Tooth at some point, I guess this is a small spoiler, but not really. Sweet Tooth at a certain point in the show just decides to become like a hunter of cops.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's really not what I expected. And yeah, by the end there are a few there's more statements made than you would expect out of a Twisted Metal show, which is like you would expect zero. It's really, really cool, and it has nothing. By the way, this has absolutely zero similarities to the game's plot at all. None.
Yeah.
Like, forget about that. Go ahead.
Is Calypso in the show at all?
That's a spoiler.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but like he's mostly a tease for the next season. I'll say that.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. There's a couple things in there like that are sometimes they will do the 90s video game movie thing where they'll just kind of like name drop a character or something, just kind of like we see you, and like I think we're kind of past that point overall. But also this show is sort of makes that work because it does almost feel of that era, but in a good way in some way.
Yeah.
Like it's corny.
Dumb fun.
Yes. Schlocky is a great way to describe it. It's definitely schlocky.
I will say Amazon does a lot better with these adaptions because they're not afraid to pump money into them. So I think if they can get more money for next season, this will be a much bigger kind of thing.
This is on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear you, though. I do feel like there was a story the other day that Peacock's losing a ton of money.
Like 1.2 billion or something crazy like that.
I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see a second season for that reason. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope it happens. Samoa Joe's real good in it. Obviously, you don't hear his voice. Will Arnett does the voice, but he does the body really well.
Acting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who'd have thunk that a wrestler could be great at physical acting?
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So I really, each episode's only like 30 minutes. There's only 10. It's a pretty easy, breezy get through. I'd recommend it more than I expected to. And hopefully we'll see that game soon that they've supposedly been working on.
Maybe.
It's gonna happen, I believe.
Yeah.
They got so many live service games. Why wouldn't Twisted Metal be one? I gotta talk again, unfortunately. ExoPrimal. There's actually not too much to say here because I only got to play one real session. But, most of the stuff I said about the beta holds true here, except, now I can opt out of PvP entirely, and that makes it a much more enjoyable experience for me. They do have 3 of the mechs locked in this, which, in the beta was not true, and that's kind of a disappointment. This game is live serviced up to all hell.
Oof.
There's a lot of battle pass. There's a lot of unlocks, a lot of emotes, a lot of skins. But it's fun, man. The action is just a good time. Especially, it's a Game Pass game. So I don't know if I'd encourage anyone to spend $60 on this thing. But for Game Pass, yeah, I'm having a good time with it. Due to Remnant 2 being my co-op game right now, I don't know if I'll get back to ExoPrimal, but they are adding some new mechs soon that seem neat, so maybe I'll check that out later too. Plus, there's a Street Fighter collaboration and a Monster Hunter collaboration on the way. There was something else I was going to say about it. Now the storylines is in there more. Some people are enjoying it a lot. I didn't care, honestly. This is not a game where I care about the story, so I've skipped most of it. Now, this is something I'm going more about what I'm hearing because I haven't played enough to know this, but apparently the game seems content light up front, but as you level up, more and more modes unlock, more and more maps unlock, and apparently it takes some kind of surprising twists in there. So I worry that some people are going to just drop it from the beginning because it seems content light, but apparently all that stuff is backloaded. So if you stick with it, you're rewarded, but I worry that some people won't. They have gotten over 1 million players, mostly due to Game Pass, I think. You look on there, like, it does have crossplay, and you can see symbols by everyone's name. You hardly see anybody on PC, and you hardly see anybody on PlayStation. It's almost all Game Pass. Even though it's on PC Game Pass, too. Go ahead.
It's unfortunate, but every time I look at this game, I'm like, wow, this looks really impressive. Imagine if Capcom put this level of effort into a remake of a beloved PS1 game that everyone's talking about, Dino Crisis.
I think they will when they get done, when they finish up with Resident Evils to remake.
Yeah, I think they will too. It's just like, come on.
Yeah. At this point, I guess their options are Code Veronica 5 and 6, but I don't know if people really want that, especially 6.
5 has insanely problematic stuff in it, so maybe don't.
Yeah. Other than that, they could do Code Veronica. They could do 0, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe improve some of the things that people don't like about that game. And then, it's been a long enough time. I know they've done a remake of 1 before, but it's been a long time. They could do that again.
They could.
Otherwise, I think, it's time to jump over to Dino Crisis, and which I'd be more excited about because I don't like horror. And I know Dino Crisis is also kind of horror, but I don't know. Dino
Crisis is dumb horror.
Yeah. I would be into a Dino Crisis remake, even though I've never played the series.
Mm-hmm.